Hey, this is Peter
Bjorn.
John.
From Peter Bjorn and John. And we're here at nortontransmissions.com talking about records in my life.
That's the hardest one.
So give us a first, we'll start with when you guys can start. First album you bought, or first album you learned to love growing up in your house.
My first album, I also wrote on it, my first album. That was Van Halen 1984. And I was lured into this by my best friend at that time. And his big brother had loads of heavy metal and hard rock LPs. And one day he came home with this 7-inch single with Jump. And me and my friend were playing in another room. And I just heard it from a distance, this song. And it was like, you know, this magical moment where like time stops. Like, what is this? It's heavy metal. There's a synth on it that we all hate. And how can I mix this together? And something with the harmonies in that song and David Roth's stoned voice. I mean, it made a big impression on me. So I sneaked into his big brother's room the day after when we played again and took it out and listened to it like 15 times, I think. So that started like a wave of buying heavy metal, hard rock albums. And I just remember, like, years later, on a Christmas Eve, I got a present, or me and my younger brother, who was around 5 years old, and I was 9, and my grandmother bought us one album each. And I wanted Kiss Animalize with Heaven's on Fire. And my brother got Wasp, I Fucked Like a Beast. Yeah, he was 5 years old.
He's 5 years old.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
My mother had us go back to the store and return his album. But we later bought it again, but yeah. I love my grandmother, she was great.
I'll take the first record I know for sure that I got when I was 4 years old, because my mom marked it up for me, like, this is from your mom, and you're 4 years old. So it's also in the vein of being socialist, and I guess they just call themselves communists back in the day, so the late 70s in Sweden. Just something normal. And that's Nationalteatern, they're called, Swedish, well, I guess rock band that started doing theater for kids, mainly about well, at first I guess it was like more for poor, like how poor kids had it, and then it went into like more like Vietnam sort of thing. So I learned a lot, like, oh, the people of Vietnam was doing this, and then they had this mean guitarist guy in this band too. So it was just great songs, and it came with a good cardboard sort of game that you could play. How to, like, you played it with your parents. The record came with the fold-out, so you could play like how to get the Vietnamese people free and all that stuff. So you play that a lot, like, you know. It's a great record cover, and that is called Kåldolmar and Kalsipper. It's kind of hard to...
You have to write it down for them afterwards, I think.
It's pretty... Maybe you get a link for that or something, but it's...
Is there a link?
It's definitely up on
YouTube
and Spotify. But it's Kåldolmar is a Swedish dish for you know, working class dish, and Kalsipper is just underwear, you know, Swedish slang word, obviously.
What's floating your nowadays? What record? Can you maybe give us a couple of records that you're totally into today? What's inspiring you?
Maybe not exactly today, but a record that is pretty recent, like a couple of years old, that I still can put out and like put on and feel that it's really meant a lot to me is the Damon Albarn record, Everyday Robots. Like I've been a fan of Blur since the beginning, of course, but I think this record is like his single most. It's just something about it as an album that, for me, it talks a lot to me, and I don't know. It's just very laid back, and that mixture of small electronic beats and acoustic guitars and just the melodies and the stories, and that is so calm. You know, it's like, I don't know. It just feels very personable, and it's the type of record I would like to do myself at some point. You know, so I thought that was very inspiring. So a very good live show of that tour as well in Berlin. I went there and saw it because he never came to Stockholm. Yeah, it was great. It's really good.
I saw that tour.
And I thought about how he would do it live, since he's always so energetic, a bit like myself, like always jumping around. And these were all ballads. So I thought how he would go. But of course he threw in some Gorilla songs and also the few songs that had a bit of a beat, they became more energetic live, obviously. So, but he's great at writing ballads. I met him once and told him that, and he agreed. So. Yeah, he said, yeah, I think the ballads are the best, and he like, yeah, it's true.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, this is first thing that comes into my mind when I say Desert Island Disc is it's very cliche, but Blonde on Blonde. Because it's just the sound of that record and the songs and the vibe. Something I always can put on and you know, always feels great. And even that huge nerdish box set that it came out, what was it, last year? With all the sessions he did in 65, 66. Even that, yes, just listening to the other takes, it's all like interesting, and it's all some other takes that are great as well. So, yeah, as I said, very cliche, but those 2 years of Bob Dylan is fucking amazing.
This is hard, like something you should listen to, blah blah. I mean, people don't like the same stuff, but if I have to force everyone to listen to one record, I'm gonna have them listen to another jazz record with Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. And it's I think it's In a Sentimental Mood, that album is called, and basically you don't have to hear the whole record, just hear that song.
It's not the ballads record, no?
That's John Coltrane alone, but this is with Duke Ellington. Yeah. So just In a Sentimental Mood with those guys, and then you can sort of quit early, and you don't have to hear the whole record.
What's the cover like?
It's a picture of Duke Ellington. John Coltrane. It's got a little sort of like an orange
frame.
Looks great. Yeah. That's a great record.
No, Desert Island or whatever, Desert Planet maybe, but yeah, I have to pick a Kraftwerk, that Man Machine album. I think it's so amazing that it still sounds like the future. When people do this cultural program about 2090, the only music you can put on is Kraftwerk because it still sounds ahead of everything. I mean, we talked about this a couple of days ago. It's so interesting what they did. Like, the thing that they were 4 people, like as a band, but only played on synths, and they were not the first to use synths, but the way they use it is like classical music, or you said like almost folk music, the German style of doing the melodies, combined with this very stiff drums that he played with these tin foil sticks, and almost like a military, like playing military drums or classical drums, and still with all the little dry synthesizers with small delays, it makes it so amazingly funky. So I don't know, it's just this coincidence that made those records happen. I think it's still amazing that they did it. So yeah, so I think that's a keeper.
Excellent. Great.